This is an onion, and today it's going to teach you how to become a better aimer. You see, the skill of aiming is much like an onion, with a core and layers upon layers upon layers.
Now, these different layers are all equally important, as they are individual skills that can be improved on individually with their own set of practices, which in turn would improve your aim as a whole. Starting at the core, we have the information that enters your eye when you see or try tracking a target. This is known by many names, but I will refer to it as eye tracking, and can be improved through playing the game, virtual training through aim trainers, or specifically isolating through eye tracking exercises. I've actually personally made a video with eye tracking exercises in 60 FPS that you can do yourself just by watching the video on YouTube, and I'll link that in the description. And training your eye tracking skills at the core of aiming as a skill will allow your vision to stay on target, processing that information faster and more accurately to allow you to then transfer that information from your eyes to your brain. In a way, your eyes are part of your brain, so the connection between these two could be considered the core of your aim. The information enters through your eyes and your brain reacts to it. Your visual reaction time, also known as VRT, can't be trained, but it can be impacted through external means such as caffeine, supplements, exercise, and generally having your mind and body in top shape. The average VRT is between 200 to 250 milliseconds, and the more you can shave off of your VRT, the more responsive your aim and reaction to visual stimuli will be. In fact, in a study reviewed by the University of Reading, researchers found that flavonoids, which can be found in other fruits, vegetables, tea, coffee, and chocolate, and of course blueberries, can boost nerve cell communication, aid brain cell regeneration, and if you don't care about that, it can improve your reaction time by a whole 9% without impacting your accuracy. So let's move on and add the first layer to the core, which is your neural pathways from your brain all the way out to your fingertips. Consistently focusing on aiming either in-game or by using aim trainers such as Aim Labs or Kovacs will improve these neural pathways and lead us to processing information more efficiently, as we don't need to focus on the conscious thought of aiming. The increased consistent use of these pathways will also strengthen the connection of the nerves, leading to faster responses from your brain to your hand, and it's believed to also make the use of your muscle fibers more efficient, leading to a more effective and accurate aim, without much shakiness or wobble. I recommend looking into the Voltaic aim training routines if you want to give aim training a shot, and try to get at least one session, ideally before you start gaming, in a day. The next layer, as all other layers, builds on the previous one, which is your hand-to-eye coordination and the control of the muscles in your arm, your hands, and your fingers. Now, obviously, your hand-to-eye coordination will improve from just gaming and performing virtual training exercises such as aim trainers, but you can actually improve on this layer specifically through improving your mind-to-muscle connection. And how do you do this? Exercising. Resistance training, such as lifting weights using your arms and upper body, will build your mind-to-muscle connection and allow you to move the mouse across a surface that much more efficiently. Depending on how you aim, you will directly improve from exercises that work your biceps, your triceps, your wrists, and forearms, and you can build better proprioceptive mind-muscle connection by doing proprioceptive exercises, as in exercises that require your eyes to be closed, which gives you a better perception and awareness of where your own body is. These exercises will not only help you improve your performance, but will also give you more endurance and make you less prone to injuries if you're gaming. Well, let's move on and add another layer, shall we? The next layer also builds on the previous one, and this one is specifically your bilateral coordination, as in your ability to use both of your hands at the same time. Not to be confused with ambidextrousness, where you can use both of your hands to do the same tasks, such as writing or using your mouse or whatever. You will mostly use this skill when you are in-game and you're trying to shoot at a target at the same time as you are trying to move around and dodge their shots. The movement itself can vary, either with more conscious ducking efforts, or just aimlessly going to the left and to the right, but you still need to be able to keep moving and shooting at the same time. There are plenty of ways to improve this, for example through aim trainers such as Aim Labs and Kovacs, but I've found that the most efficient way to improve your bilateral movement and aiming skill is just by going in-game, getting into the firing range, and practicing in front of a target. Just go to the left and the right while trying to keep your aim on the same spot, make a conscious note of how your movement alters where your aim lands, and consciously adjust for it. Start off slow, chain movements together, and speed up as long as you can keep your aim locked on the target. Now, the order of the outer layers of the aiming skill can be argued till the end of time, but I'd say that the bilateral movement and aim is much more of a core skill than the following ones. Also, fun fact, up until this point, this video could have been about any game. These prior layers are all skills that will carry across all shooters, and to a certain degree, any game that you can think of. The next layer that you can add to the aiming onion is recoil control. This learned skill completely depends on what game you are playing, but thankfully in Apex Legends there are a few ways to mitigate recoil, both through small tricks to exercises that you can do to keep your aim at the best possible level. For example, there's recoil smoothing, where by smoothly moving your aim over 3.74 degrees a second, you will practically just remove all recoil. To do this, just pull your aim in one direction and make sure to keep your arm as relaxed as possible. You'll obviously need to counter the aim by moving in the opposite direction, but you'd be surprised to how effective this is. Then there's the more infamous oscillation and jitter aiming, where you can accomplish the same result as recoil smoothing, just more efficiently, but at the cost of early onset arthritis. Doing a jitter aim successfully is as simple as shaking your mouse when shooting. As long as you shake your aim faster than your gun fires, your recoil will magically disappear, and this will let you stay on target. And finally, there are the recoil patterns themselves. Every weapon has their own recoil pattern that can be studied, learned, and then compensated for. You have to adjust more heavily for targets farther away, but you can learn the recoil simply by shooting a wall, making a mental note of how the bullets will travel, and then consciously doing the opposite movement when you are spraying. There's a great exercise for this in the firing range, where you start by shooting a firing dummy or target close to you, aim to hit maybe 90 to 100% of your bullets, and then moving to one target farther away. I recommend drilling this to the targets up to 200 meters away depending on your weapon and your scope, but if you really want to flex, you can go crazy with it and practice a recoil compensation skill for targets up to 400 meters away. And of course, the next layer of an Apex-specific learned skill is adjusting to targets farther away. As I mentioned with the previous layer, if you're firing a more automatic weapon, you'll need to pace your shots or tighten your recoil control, but there is one more level to aiming at targets farther away because of Apex's bullet ballistics. Past 50 meters, and in some cases even closer than 50 meters if you use a wingman, no weapons are what's known as hit scan, and are subject to varying levels of bullet drop and travel time. This means that depending on the range, you need to adjust your sights above your target to compensate for bullet drop. And if they're on the move, adjust your sights in front of where they are going to account for travel time. Again, this varies from gun to gun, and there are scopes in the game that even have these nice little markers to help you lead up your shot. But sadly, the markers mean different things on different guns and different scopes, so unless you have the full data, which I am working on, make sure to hit subscribe for that, you're gonna have to be guessing. Training for range comes down to knowledge and memorization, so learn how your gun behaves at different ranges, and learn what the different marks mean on several scopes, and then keep using it. You can practice the feel of the bullet drop in the firing range, but it is far from perfect and very far from a real game scenario.
And you could spend all this time training and going through the gruesome training, or you could just pick up a whole onion instead. Pick up a controller. That's disgusting.